that subset of the autistic population that had regressed autism. By that, I mean, at 18 months, 20 months, Craig was happy and babbling and bright-eyed and playing and imitating his sister and jumping with toys and playing with his toys appropriately, and eye contact, sleeping great, like a joyful child. After 20 months, 22 months, 23 months, he started to fade. We lost his eye contact. We lost his laugh, his smile. He was white. He had dark circles under his eyes. He would run around. He would grind his teeth. He would hum constantly. He couldn't sit still. He would watch videos all day if I let him. It was the only thing that kept him in one place. In our country right now, 1 in 20 boys are on that spectrum. And then 25% of those are more severe. So why wouldn't we want to know? Why wouldn't we want to know? Okay, maybe not do milk or dairy or gluten for the first year. I don't know. I'm just saying, why wouldn't we want to know what those little triggers are and avoid them? Maybe not forever, but for those first 3 years.
Welcome to the very final episode of Season 3 of the Daily Soul Bytes show. And I'm really pleased to be here. I'm Bola Abimbola, your frequency alchemist, life coach, and energy practitioner. And Daily Soul Bytes is where we bring expert authors, coaches, and interpreters from the fields of spirituality, psychology, and leadership who share their insights for the expansion of collective consciousness. And today we have Lori Rogers back here with us. She was here for part 1, and she talked about mindfulness and how we can really leverage our mindset in order to leave the outcomes that we desire. And you can check out that episode, that part 1, on our channels. And Lori is here for part 2. We're going to talk about something very, very exciting and very close to our hearts today. Welcome to the show, Lori.
Thank you. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you for being here. You know, Lori and I have something in common, and that is that we are both parents of now big men who have a diagnosis of autism, and they are on the severe end, the kind of nonverbal end of autism. And that is a challenge, and how we have over the years supported them and worked in tangent with them by their side to be where they are, living very successful lives, but still requiring support, still requiring that, that degree of protection that only parents will understand how that feels. So I do look forward to today's discussion with Lori, talking about parenting children that are very vulnerable, and how we have used our mindfulness and our mindsets to brave through some of the challenges we have had for decades, and how we can share some of these insights. And feel free to connect with us, with either of us, at the end of the show if this is something that really relates to you personally. So welcome again, Lori. But tell us a bit about yourself and your family, really your life as a parent.
Sure. Thank you. I'm a mom of 3. Craig, who is our non-speaker, diagnosed with autism at 2.5, is now 34 years old. He also has an older sister, Amanda, and a younger brother, Cam. And my husband and I own 2 companies together, which is fun, positive activity, and also a swag business called Rogers Marketing, which, by the way, having a child with a disability that needed much support, being self-employed was probably the best decision I ever made, to have that freedom and flexibility to do what I needed to do, and Neil needed to do during the day with him. So Craig was raised here in New Hampshire, and we visit the beach in Massachusetts a lot. He's doing very well, and I can explain what he's doing now as far as communication goes in a minute. But I think this is such a timely discussion today because it's kind of a tumultuous few days here in the United States based on what RFK Jr. said last week and his 27-minute speech, which unfortunately I feel got misconstrued and I feel it's parents like me who have a child, but that is that silent 25% that he was talking about, that subset of the autistic population that had regressed autism. By that, I mean, at 18 months, 20 months, Craig was happy and babbling and bright-eyed and playing and imitating his sister and jumping with toys and playing with his toys appropriately, and eye contact, sleeping great, like a joyful child. After 20 months, 22 months, 23 months, he started to fade. We lost his eye contact. We lost his laugh, his smile. He was white. He had dark circles under his eyes. He would run around. He would grind his teeth. He would hum constantly. He couldn't sit still. He would watch videos all day if I let him. It was the only thing that kept him in one place. He had stomach aches or diarrhea or constipation. He was sick. He was sick. And I call it the silent or invisible 25% because these are the kids that you don't see at the Christmas parties, you don't see at the park, you don't see in the grocery store, you don't see at the weddings or the parties because we couldn't take them. Couldn't take them. These little kids are not on the TV shows. They're not in the documentaries. They're not on the Netflix specials because they don't speak. They can't sit still. They're just not well. They're not well. So I feel better even talking about it right now, actually. So thank you for this. And I'm trying to figure out how do I explain, or do I even not? I don't know, but to friends or family that bring it up and ask me about it, and to say, I kind of support what he said. I do support finding out what happened. Yes, I support figuring it out. If it's toxic chemicals, is it antibiotics? Is it environmental? Is it allergies? Is it this? Let's find out. Because in our country right now, 1 in 20 boys are on that spectrum. And then 25% of those are more severe. So why wouldn't we want to know? Why wouldn't we want to know? Okay, maybe not do milk or dairy or gluten for the first year. I don't know. I'm just saying, why wouldn't we want to know what those little triggers are and avoid them? Maybe not forever, but for those first 3 years. So for myself, I had after Craig was diagnosed, I had Cam, our youngest son, who I remember at the time thinking, oh my gosh, what are we doing? How irresponsible of us to have another child with all of this whirlwind going on over here. I did. I was like, how are we going to do it all? How am I going to pay attention to this sweet little baby? How am I going to pay attention to my sweet daughter? Like, it was, I just felt so irresponsible and fearful of it all. But I have to say, Craig has been blessed with amazing siblings, and Craig's youngest brother treated him like a typical kid, always. Stealing the remote from him, stealing toys from him, making him go outside and play chase with him, making him pitch a baseball to him, just treating him like a typical kid. And Craig never talked to him. Craig never really paid much attention to them, not because he didn't want to, couldn't, he didn't know how. So I'll get to that in a minute too. So with Cam, I said, okay, this is my own little double-blind placebo study. I was fearful, I was worried, but I didn't give him dairy. I didn't give him gluten for the first 3 years of his life. He didn't have a vaccine until he was 3. And he was walking and talking and social and happy. He never had an antibiotic. I just did things differently. Now remember, we're talking, this is back in 1997, 95, 96, 97. It was tough. My doctors were mad at me. I said, I don't care. This was what I need to do for this child, for this sweet baby, who doesn't even have a functioning immune system yet. Like, no, I need to do this for him. And he wasn't in preschool yet. I was home with him. I wasn't worried about him getting infected with anything else at the time. I nursed him. So I did what I felt was best, and I support any parent that does whatever they need for the sake and the health of their child. I do. I really do. I'm not saying don't do any of these things. I'm just said for me, I just wanted to protect him. And I thought, some of these things don't seem right. So maybe I'm just going to delay this. That's what we did. So now we have our family. Craig is now 34. He is a non-speaker. He has a robust, amazing day program with a terrific aide. He does not live with us. He lives 10 minutes away, and that's his choice with a couple in their home. Not ideal, but it's working great. So what's new now for us and our family is that we've discovered Spelling to Communicate, which is a program where Craig and thousands of other kids across the world, not just in the United States, across the world, are using a board like this and a poker like this to point to letters to spell out what they want to say. So the kicker is here, it's not that they don't have words, thoughts, knowledge, divine intelligence. They do, because that's stored in these sections of your brain. It's the motor cortex right here that's not working. So the motor cortex is sending signals to his mouth, say open, and he's trying to say, but he can't because the signals aren't getting there. So this amazing, it was actually an OT/speech therapist that thought of this program, actually. She said, okay, well, if this isn't working right, and the mouth muscles, the tongue muscles, the jaw muscles aren't working correctly, okay, well then I'm going to get the hand involved, and I'm going to teach these kids to take a pointer or a pencil and point to the letters, just going back and forth and back and forth. You see this, I'll stand up and do it. You're just pointing, right? This gross motor skill is easier for these kids to do than this skill. This is a fine motor skill, one of the finest of fine motor skills, which is very hard. So teaching them to point is a gross motor skill. And after practice and practice and practice, after our first session with our practitioner, Craig was able to do it. And I thought, oh God. And he was 32 at the time. I thought, oh wow, this is amazing. And as time went on and on and on, he became more fluent and more open with me. And just yesterday, I told him that, and I asked him first, I said, Mom is a little uneasy about what's going on with the country and the controversy over this speech. And, I really want to talk about it, but I want your permission. It's your life. It's your experience. Partly mine too, but his too. And he said, he'd spelled out, I want you to tell the story. And he said this, you can tame your thoughts to be open to God. So by that, I said, do you mean for me to not lash out, which is what I want, or is it to just tame, be calm, pray, ask for guidance on how I can approach this? To my family, to my friends, to peers, to people that are asking me, what do you think? What are you going to do? What are you going to post? How are you going to support your child? Do I need to post something to support this population or not? But he said, you can talk about it on Facebook, he said. And he said, I feel no regret. So even though he knows this happened to him at 2.5, 3 years old, probably more like at 22, 23 months, he says, I feel no regret. And I will expand on that with him the next time we're together, which I think is beautiful. His journey is different. Mm-hmm. Doesn't mean it's horrible. Yes, were we devastated at first? Yes, of course. But then after a few weeks, a few months, I said, okay, well, let's pull the bootstraps up and let's figure out how we're going to help him in the best ways that we can. Mm-hmm. But to him, it's different. So, and I think to him now, being able to communicate with us and tell us his goals, you should see he has goals. I have a list of them up here on my vision board. I'm like, oh my gosh. So his goals, his wants, his needs, he wants to live with other spellers. He wants to go to the spellers conference this year in July in Virginia to meet other spellers and to meet his friends that he Zooms with on the computer. So there's other spellers in our area he'll meet with. So Craig will be there with his practitioner. The other speller will be there with theirs, and they have a conversation about, he never had friends. He never had friends. Now he has friends. He's 34 years old.
I love that.
So it's,
Thank
will
you.
he still always need full support? Yes. Will he be able to live independently? No. Will he drive? No. Because he doesn't have the motor planning. He doesn't have the motor skills. It's not that cognition. It's not that at all. Non-speaking does not mean non-thinking.
Very true.
These kids, and now when parents call me, when their child is newly diagnosed, for some reason my name gets tossed around and I'm happy to talk to them. I said, just remember, that sweet little 3-year-old understands everything you are saying. Yes, they're running around. Yes, they can't speak. I get all that, but they know, they hear you and they're taking it in and they're remembering and they're knowing and they're learning. So treat them, read to them like a typical 5-year-old. Have books on tape on all the time as a TV shows that they can understand because they learn. Craig knows algebra. He knows history. He knows so much. And I keep asking him, how do you know this? You were never in a typical classroom. Your classroom was in the basement of the schools, right? Like his high school classroom was literally had no windows in it, you know, next to the shop room or wherever it was. Like you were never in a typical classroom. He said, I heard it. I could hear it. So now his mission is to get the word out and help other non-speakers.
I do appreciate your sharing of that journey from when you had, you know, Greg and Cam came afterwards, and I do want to touch on some of those things that, you know, those experiences before we move on to how you actually support other parents now, because I always think that, you know, as myself as a mother of a 28-year-old, and I did think, you know, Greg was in his late 20s, so he's definitely much older than Sharon is 34. So, you know, and that's brilliant that he's actually, you know, in the last 2 years actually now become able to communicate and interact with others, because he has been able to communicate, but only in his own world, and now being able to share that. And, you know, I do know what it's like, but I always say that when you have a child with autism, it's almost like you are integrating trauma and then it's coming back. You're living with that traumatic experience ongoing, and you know that has its own particular way of manifesting, and it has its own particular way of motivating us not to give up on exactly what Greg said, taping our minds to God. And I know that my son, with his, you know, 12 diagnoses, including autism, including severe learning difficulties, mobility difficulties, also having oromotor dyskinesia, which is, you know, this inability to control the muscles of his mouth, which developed about 6 years ago with the side effects of medication. So he's actually now moved beyond that, and also has dysphagia, and a number of 12 different diagnoses, very complex. And what I always say is that my relationship with him was a soul contract, and it was something that led me to develop a deeper relationship with my own self, a deeper relationship with God. Because from the moment he was born, I knew that my first degree in psychology actually helped me to see that he was not like a typical baby. He didn't really recognize me. I would walk into a room and he wouldn't really recognize that it was me. He didn't search for me, didn't seek me as as the mother who breastfed him. He did not relate to me and, hold my eye or laugh. He did laugh sometimes, but not in that deep, interactive way that babies have with their mothers. And he would stare, he would sit in his cot and stare in one section of the wall like that and would not catch anybody's eye. He wasn't really in a world with us. He was in his own world. And over time, over about 2-3 years, he began to interact. And then with all the vaccines that he took, he lost his speech again, and he lost his sense of interaction again. And then he began again. And it's always been a struggle to stay ahead, to respond to whatever he was presenting. The first diagnosis, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth.
Yeah.
It causes a different kind of personality within you. And you know that if you give up, you will actually not be able to get up. So you do not give up. I have definitely learned that in my own life. I cannot give up. So it also was something that supported me to parent my younger son differently. So I also did very similar things to you, and had the police knocking on my door. When am I going to get my vaccines? When am I going to start allowing him to go into nursery? I was determined to monitor how he was responding, monitor what he was getting. And it has led to a different outcome for him as well, because I know that the signs that I was seeing were not pointing me in the right direction somehow. So he's now a medical doctor, and his older brother, Shell, with all this diagnosis, is a trainee sous chef using his iPad, his computer iPad, to communicate. And he can say some words, but because of the oromotor dyskinesia, and also he's receiving some treatment for his voice box, all of that means he has to communicate in a different way. So it is quite a different world. It's a different world. And it comes down to, what are we going to do with what is presenting to us? Or what is presenting to us in government? Because government doesn't always support. There are some governments that do support vulnerable persons more than others, and they call them different names in different countries. But there are certain times when we know as parents we have to have a particular mindset that is not responding to what government is saying, but is responding to what we believe we want to manifest. We want to align ourselves to. So mindset is key. How do we become mindful as parents of children who are vulnerable way into their adult lives? How does he begin to depend on me, who can have that fear triggered? It's a natural thing. I am human, but there will be times when I will have fear triggered within me. How do I cope? And that is where I want to ask you this question, Laurie, because I know, just like me, you are supporting other parents. I'm a legal consultant supporting parents here in the UK who have children with special needs, supporting them through the assessments, through the provisions, through challenges. And I'm also an energy coach, so I supported them in terms of emotional resilience and kind of trauma-informed healing. And I know that you also work with parents. Could you tell us a bit about the work that you do, and really what advice you would give to parents who do have to live in this world that is always not inclusive? And how do we remember that we are empowered beings when we have those moments of trigger, those moments of fear?
Well, it's funny too, because when I started doing this work and mentoring people and doing my workshops, it really wasn't just special needs parents. It was entrepreneurs and business people and things like that. But more and more, I realized, oh, I've got these parents who need this too. It's not just about making money or making a business or doing whatever. These parents want to live a more centered, peaceful, calm, powered life so that they can offer that energy to their child. So this is what I tell them first. You and your child, it's usually the mama bears that I'm working with. So you, mama bear, and that child are energetically connected. So the calmer you can be each day, the calmer that child will be each day as well, because you two are connected. So let's work on us first. Let's work on us first. And so we talk about the aspects of what I teach in positive activity. And one of the things I started doing like a month ago is tapping. So that's one thing that's easy and free, and that the parent can do in the morning, just to tap out, right? That first, the energy, right? To get your energy flowing and moving, and meditation and calmness. And we talk about writing down your goals for your child for the next 3 months, month, whatever it is. And, ask your angels for help. Ask God, ask your angels for help. I give you permission to help me with Johnny being able to count to 5 tomorrow, this week, or whatever the goal is for that child. Because usually you have goals when you go to preschool and that kind of thing, or that he can sit in circle time for 5 minutes, or, and I tell them, just because of my experience with Craig, so let's get that mindfulness going. Let's get that positivity flowing, because you're going to need it, because every day is going to be something. Every day could be another challenge. Every day there's something coming up. The teacher calls, the aide calls, your child's sick, your child's having diarrhea, he hit someone, you bit someone. So mom, we need to keep you as steady as we can, right? Because you're going to get pounded, and we don't want you going in the ditch every day. We want you to stay up here vibrationally and peacefully and calmly, and just stay as strong and peaceful as you can, because your child is going to need you to be there. So I take them through the practices of appreciation and conscious recall and meditation and exercise and tapping and mindfulness meditation and visualizing. I take them through all of that. It's because it's as calm and as peaceful as you can be, your child will be too, because they'll feel that. And by the way, there's so many things out there now to help these little guys and little girls, that I just send them along to different practitioners I know in my area. Things like Reiki, things like craniosacral therapy, things like go to a functional medicine doctor that will test them for allergies. Do you have mold in your house? To help them detox. Do they have enough glutathione in their system, and are they detoxing? There's things you can do. So I try to help them find the right practitioners and energy workers in their area. And I help them do that. And then I remind them, I know it doesn't seem like it, but this child hears you, knows what you're saying, and is taking it all in every single day. They are not cognitively impaired. That is my belief. They are not. They can't sit still. They can't speak because of their motor planning apraxia issues. And when you have apraxia, I remind them that do your research, look this up, look up apraxia, and take this report to your OT and your speech therapist. Because if this child can't speak, not only can you not initiate something when you have apraxia, you can't stop your body from doing something. So as much as they may be flapping or moving or running, they don't want to. They want to stop. They can't stop it, just like they can't initiate it. One of Craig's goals on his board is, I want to learn to stop flapping my hands, because it makes me look stupid. It makes me look different. And he's aware of that, but he can't. So much better. Thank you, Lord. He's so much better. I only see it once in a while when he's very anxious. And I tell these parents, I go, listen, I hear you. Craig will have a bad day, and I'm down there with him. And it's going to take, it takes me a day, maybe 2. And I do all these practices, right? It takes me a day or 2 to get back and say, no, okay, Craig, we're going to figure this out together. We're going to heal this together. We're going to stay calm. And I ask him, when you're having an anxious day, because one time I picked him up and I was mad at him because he kept repeating. Like, he'll say words like, no no school, no school, not like he'll repeat things when he's anxious like that. And I got mad at him. I said, would you stop saying, and I'm yelling at him. So he gets home and I said, when you're in that loop, when you're in that stress, what's the best way for me to help you? And he spells out on the board, you can stay calm. I'm like, okay, good point. I could, and I'm going to damn try. So that's what I tell parents too. I'm like, they're so connected to you. They read your energy. They feel your energy, and they're smart. They're amazing little souls, and their brains cognitively are working. It's this motor cortex thing that just got messed up some way, somehow. And I, at this point, don't worry too much about the some way, somehow, because I'm looking to the future, and I'm saying, no, right in this moment today, how do we get Craig to have the best day he can? So you've got to put your oxygen mask on, and you've got to get your mindset straight and your confidence well, and ask for help. When Craig was younger, of course, I had my husband and family members. I had family members that would come. This is one thing I wanted to say too. I will have family members of newly diagnosed, like grandchildren or nieces and nephews. What can I do to help my niece, my daughter-in-law? When I'm like, call them up, tell them you're coming over. You're going to sit with this child for an hour or two. Let that mom go out.
Yeah.
Or take that little kid out to the play place or out to the park or go out and swing or jump on the trampoline. So this mom has a break. Or take the other siblings out. I say, give her time, give that mom time. And I had people in my life that did that. And that was like the most amazing gift when Craig was younger.
To kind of pull those strategies that you have mentioned that will support parents to become much more mindful, because that is something that we definitely have found from experience, from working and talking to other parents, that it really starts from within. There is a need for us to look at all the experiences we're having on the outside and understand that we can align to what's within us. We can align to higher perspectives. We can align to the information that is out there. We can align to the love and the support that is out there. We can align with the knowledge, the information that tells us this is not hopeless. There is hope and there is truth. Aligning to the truth that works for us, not the truth that we are being told. Sometimes not even the truth that we wake up to in the morning. We are aligning to a deeper truth within us. And that is something that I do want anyone who is watching this to take away. There is a need to go within and align to that deeper truth, as well as knowing that there is a lot of opportunity out there that you will only begin to perceive when you align into something different. So I do look forward to connecting with all of us who are watching this. And I do want to ask you, Laurie, where can people find you when they want to connect with you? Sure.
So our website is positiveactivity.net. Here I am wearing my new sweatshirt. And my email is on there. My links to my Instagram or Facebook are on there as well. Parents will email me, and I am learning new things every day. So I'm just started. I don't know if it's loaded up on the website yet, but there's a 1-page download PDF of Quick Start. These are I think it's up to 10 things I do every morning or every day. Here's the 10 things I do to help get my energy as positive and squared away and get this heart as open as it can. And so there'll be a downloadable PDF on my website. And then I'm almost done with it, but also a downloadable, I guess I could call it my positive activity companion. It's a companion guide. I don't like the word guide, but I'm trying to think of a different word. But a companion pamphlet where people can just print that out too. And it explains more in depth why I do all these 10 things and where they can go get information and research it themselves. When it comes to autistic diagnosis, don't have all of those same things still apply for mindfulness, and centered and calm and peace in your life, those parents need a little more guidance as far as practitioners and energy work and other things that I recommend. Not everyone's open to hearing it yet, but I recommend it anyway. And that I deal with one-on-one. And I don't charge for that. I just have conversations with people. Say, look into this, look into this, look into this. It's not going to hurt them. And oh my gosh, it might help.
Thank
Like the
you.
first thing I say, go to your pantry, get rid of cane sugar, gluten, dairy, anything with a preservative or food coloring in it. I'm sorry, but it's got to go.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Thank you so much, Laurie. Thank you for joining me today. I do appreciate you joining me today.
I appreciate you so much. You have such an eloquent way of putting it, and I just love it. So thank you. And I hope it's helped someone. You helped me today, so thank you.
You helped me too, Laurie. I love our conversation. We must continue. We must continue at another time. Thank you so much. And I do want to thank our audience for joining us on this last episode of season 3. And I'm looking forward to season 4. And we will continue to interview experts in the fields of spirituality and psychology and leadership to expand collective consciousness. So join us from the 14th of May when we will have season 4 starting. I will see you on the next season of Daily Soul Bytes Show.